So today we are inspired to come on to the channel and post a video that I think would help a lot of people, especially those of us just getting started. When you first start out, there's a lot to consider. The beginning of the video considers the impact of our existence on the world around us, including the seas, nature's worth, and animals. Not my words coined here, inspired by the late Michael Jackson. But I definitely wanted to come on the channel and help some of the creators out who are just starting. First of all, inspection, and that can be so encompassing. There's a lot that can go on during an inspection. Inspecting for safety, inspecting your tools, and of course, inspecting the project. When I'm thinking about inspecting for safety, this includes the area that I'm choosing to work in, making sure that there's nothing nearby that will cause harm to me or that I will mess up or damage. So that's one of the biggest tips, is to inspect the area that you're working in, including things like making sure the area is properly ventilated, thinking in advance about what you're about to do, what the project may entail. When it comes to the project in and of itself, there's a lot of inspection that goes on. You want to inspect that piece to make sure that there's nothing that you don't have, or you need to take notes to make sure you have enough material or supplies, whatever those supplies may be. You want to make sure that you have enough of your work nearby, especially the fabric part, because it can happen so quickly. But you'll see one of the areas of inspecting and preparing will help you in that area a whole lot. When it comes to inspecting your tools, make sure you have the tools that the project requires. You don't want to start something and then realize that, you misplaced a screwdriver or a staple gun or fasteners or pins or anything that you need for that project. Gather it and keep it nearby. Inspect your tools in the conditions that they're in. You don't want to have like your air compressor not fully aired up, or you don't want to have not enough staples. Make sure you have a supply of what you need, right? So that happens at the very beginning. Don't start something without being fully prepared, which leads me into the next area of what I think about and what I do ahead of a project. I gather all my things nearby. I put my bucket of tools, those things that I use all the time, I put them nearby. They're either on the cabinet behind me, because this area in my home, there's nothing here. There's nothing in that space. I also gather those small things, things that I don't even consider a part of my supplies or tools, but like pins to fasten the fabric to the template of the fabric that I'm removing. Another small item might be Ziploc bags to hold fasteners in that I take apart or remove from a piece. And then something maybe like I use a magnet. I don't show it in this video, but I also have a magnet that I use to gather staples that I've removed from a piece. There's so much that goes into the prep stage also when you're preparing the piece in and of itself. Broken or scratched pieces, maybe you want that type of aesthetic. Maybe it's fine with you, you're okay with it. But if you don't want that, then you want to make sure you have some sandpaper maybe, or you might have primer available, spray primer, depending on what you use. But then that also brings you to the next thing, right? Inspecting your area for proper ventilation, making sure you have a fan nearby, letting people know that you're about to use a chemical, either indoors or outdoors. It's totally up to you. I've seen some people that have these areas that are visqueened off with the proper, I'm not sure of what it's called, but it looks like something that you can attach to the ceiling and you can visqueen off an area, and they use that indoor area to paint their pieces. I've seen that done. And these days there's canopies that you can drape over and have the same exact effect. I like to take my pieces on the outside or in the garage and spray them because I have availability in those areas to do that. And that works for me. But if you don't and you have to use indoors, there's tools that you can purchase that make this really easy. I even seen someone use like this kid-sized tent, and they used it to spray small pieces that they recreated or that they created. Here, when you're working in refurbishing, there's a lot to be told when taking a piece apart. I think of it like I'm reviewing the story of the previous creator, and my idea is to preserve as much of the story that was told if those pieces can be preserved, especially garments or fabric pieces, instructions on how to care for the fabric, especially if I'm going to retain those items when working. So I try to keep those pieces nearby and not damage them if I can. If I end up damaging it and I'm not going to use it moving forward, then what I use it for is to help with the math of refurbishing. I don't measure a whole lot, but when I need to, I have measuring tools nearby. But for the most part, you can use those old pieces from the project as a template and measure it. And that's what I find myself doing a lot. There's some unconventional tools that you'll use, maybe. Sometimes I find myself reaching for a butter knife or a drill. Sometimes, if it's a part of the project, if it's required, if it's called for, sometimes I have to borrow tools. That's fine as well. But the most important thing I think you can do is in the very beginning stages of a project. The inspection part, taking notes, and the prepping part, making sure that everything's nearby, prepping the piece, preparing it, getting it ready, because the final project, like the end result, is only as good as the prepping that you would have placed in it. And so I kind of lean towards doing more prepping than finalizing it, because the final part is just like a puzzle, right? Putting it back together. But if I don't remove all the staples, if I don't sand the piece down, if I don't sand it down enough, that can come through on the final project. Unless that's the look that I'm going for, then it's okay. But in most cases, if you don't want like a rough looking piece, or the fabric isn't taut enough against the piece of furniture, that's not the effect you're going for, then it can waste time. You can waste time by not taking advantage of prepping. I hope this video was beneficial to someone. Thank you so much for tuning in, listening. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. At the very end, you'll see a project that I worked on here recently. It was another set of bed benches, and they came out really, really nice. I really like those. Hey, thank you so much once again. Have a great day ahead, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.